From time to time, I still get flashbacks and remember standing in the wash bay, cold water chilling my hands to the bone, the smell of cheap degreaser and the hot wash generator cutting in and out, and just watching. You see a lot from the wash bay of a dealership. Well, at least when it's quiet anyway. And what you get to see is the gap. The massive gap between the promises made on the glossy showroom floor and the cold, hard reality of what happens when a car actually needs to be fixed. Back then I learned a lesson that never really left me. Clarity beats confidence every single time, and right now, in Australia, we are seeing a whole lot of confidence and not nearly enough clarity. Think about this. We have 67 different car brands fighting for space on Australian roads today. 67. And the Australian Automotive Dealer Association, the AADA, says that by 2031, that number is going to climb to 75. 75 brands. It's an absolute flood of shiny new toys, mostly budget-friendly electric vehicles and hybrids coming in from overseas, promising the world at a fraction of the legacy price. But here's the thing. The sales pitch is easy. Shipping the steel is easy. It's the physical, unglamorous reality of keeping those cars on the road where the whole thing starts to splinter, for lack of a better word. Take XPeng, for example, one of the newest Chinese electric vehicle manufacturers to hit our shores, starting deliveries just back in August of 2024. Now, their local distributor, a company called True EV, has been incredibly honest about this. The CEO came out and admitted they've got some serious growth pains. He used a phrase that really caught my attention. He called it a disconnect in expectations. See, in their very first shipment of vehicles, they had buyers in Hobart, buyers in Darwin, and pretty much everywhere in between. And those buyers quite rightly expected that if something went wrong with their brand new high-tech machine, the parts to fix it would be sitting on a shelf nearby. But they weren't. True EV went from having 0 cars on the road to suddenly having 30 cars off the road, all needing various specific parts. And when you only sell one model, in their case the G6 electric SUV, you'd think managing parts would be simple. But it's not. Mr. Clark pointed out that while consumables might be fine, for other components the wait time can stretch from a single day to literally 6 weeks. 6 weeks of your shiny new EV sitting idle because a component is waiting to be flown or shipped out of China. That is a very long bridge to cross when you're the one making the monthly payments on a car you can't drive. We get blinded by that lower sticker price. We see a sleek EV, we compare it to a Tesla or a Hyundai, and we think, like, why pay the premium? But what we are actually doing is trading away the invisible infrastructure. We are ignoring the massive physical logistics gap. It's easy to code an app, it's easy to design a digital dashboard, but building a physical supply chain across a continent as vast and unforgiving as Australia, that is a completely different beast. And when that logistics chain breaks, the buyer is the one left carrying all the risk. And if you think it's tough in the metro areas, spare a thought for regional Australians. We've got stories emerging on social media, Facebook, Reddit, the usual places where the real, unvarnished truth comes out, of owners in regional communities having to drive 2 hours or more just to get a basic service. Imagine that. You buy a car to get you around, and now you have to sacrifice half a day and a tank of fuel, or a full battery charge, just to find a workshop that's allowed to look under the bonnet. BYD, which has been growing at an absolute breakneck pace, selling more vehicles per dealer than almost any brand in the country, acknowledged this exact issue. Their Asia-Pacific Managing Director, Liu Shuiliang, admitted they know about regional customers driving 2 hours for a service. They are scrambling to open 150 dealerships by mid-2026 to try and patch that hole, but the sales are moving faster than the concrete can dry on the new workshops. It's got so bad that even the federal government is stepping in. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese recently called out some of these new players for unfair practices. He warned that the government is going to crack down on franchising laws to protect buyers and local dealers, making it clear that new brands can't just rely on high sales volume, they actually have to meet standards around ongoing service. James Vortman, the CEO of the ADA, put it bluntly, not all of these 67 brands are going to survive the long haul because Australian consumers ultimately value reliability over raw monetary savings. The brands that can't support their cars after they leave the showroom are going to struggle, and eventually they'll fail. Now, some people will point to the new right to repair laws that came in recently, which mandate that car manufacturers have to share their technical repair and diagnostic information with independent mechanics at a reasonable price. The Victorian Automotive Chamber of Commerce, the VACC, says this should theoretically solve the problem. If there's no local dealer, you can just take it to your trusted local mechanic, right? Well, yes and no. Legislation moves a lot slower than a cargo ship from Shanghai. And even if the local mechanic has the legal right to the information, do they have the training? Do they have the specialized diagnostic tools for a brand new, highly complex software on wheels EV? And more importantly, do they have the parts? If the manufacturer has a monopoly on the physical parts pipeline, the right to repair doesn't mean much when the component you need is sitting in a warehouse in Shenzhen. To be fair, this isn't just a new brand problem. The VACC is quick to point out that legacy brands are also facing massive repair delays due to an industry-wide shortage of qualified technicians and global supply chain hiccups. But here's the difference. If you own a Toyota or a Mazda, the local mechanic down the road has seen thousands of them. They know the common faults, they have existing relationships with local parts distributors, and the diagnostic path is well trodden. With a brand new entrant, your local mechanic is learning on the job, on your dime, while you wait weeks for a bespoke wiring harness to arrive. The risk isn't just higher, it's exponentially higher. So, does this mean you should completely avoid these new players? No, absolutely not. Competition is great for the market, and some of these new vehicles are genuinely impressive pieces of technology, but it means you have to go in with your eyes wide open. You have to look past the digital screens, the ambient lighting, and the confident smile of the salesperson, and you have to demand clarity. You need to know exactly who is holding the risk if something goes wrong. Before you sign on that dotted line, you need to do some real old-school due diligence. Don't just ask the dealer. Go talk to the people who actually get their hands dirty. Go to your local mechanic or the nearest independent service center. Ask them straight up, have you worked on one of these? Do you have access to the diagnostic software for this brand? How hard is it for you to source parts for it? Check the Australian Automotive Service and Repair Authority website to see if the brand you're looking at is actually complying with the information sharing schemes. If the local guys shake their heads or look nervous, that's a massive red flag. True EV partnered with UltraTune to give XPeng buyers a national servicing network, which is a smart move. But you still need to verify how that works in your specific corner of the country. Because at the end of the day, the true cost of a car isn't the drive-away price. It's the cost of ownership. It's the cost of being stranded on the side of the road in the middle of a family road trip, waiting for a part that's 6 weeks away. A fair deal means both sides have skin in the game. The manufacturer shouldn't get to take your money and leave you to carry all the logistical risk. We need to hold these new brands to a higher standard, because if we don't, we're just buying into a very expensive headache. Keep your eyes on the ground, look for the patterns, and remember, clarity beats confidence every single time. Alright, that's it from me. Talk soon.